We're gonna start on Lijiang Tower.
Alright. So the thing I like about this map is pretty good control center area here, so you can get some multiple comps going on both sides.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite Chain of the Hill map in my whole game. Like I remember my very first Chain of the Hill match was on Lijiang.
That's pretty cool. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna run here. I think knowing Voxy, who is the Paladin's main tank, it'll likely be a Rhine Diva comp. I'm not sure about the other side, but it looks like they're running dive.
Oh yeah, they are running a Rhine. You're right. You're correct. Rhine and Diva.
Yes.
Now,
sorry. They're also doing the Pharmacy combo, which on the other side is countered by the McCree, but they also have the Tracer.
Now, as a tank man, I started playing Overwatch in about mid-2017, and I've been a tank main for about 3 years now, so I'm very excited to see what kind of tank play we get out of the Paladins today.
Yes. Okay, so they look like to be going on the left side along while the Pharmacy takes right side, and the other team is split up as well. Yep.
Now, something with the recent the Rhine's down. With the recent developments of the barrier nerf, shield management on your Reinhardt is more important than it ever has been. You have to know how to manage your shield.
Yeah. Oh, and they have 2 picks on. They're up 2 right now. Looks TNT managed to get a pick on the Tracer while the team was capping the point. So that can be an opportunity for them if they want to go in and push.
Oh, Anno landed the sleep. Very nice.
And manages to get the Moira as well. However, Clarity gets the res off. Very good. By her. I think the Tracer is really providing a lot more focus damage on the back line than the Pharah is for the Paladin.
Winston raging.
Oh, and that's an unlucky stagger on the mech. So I'm interested to see if the Paladins will switch it up a little bit. The Tracer McCree comp seems to really be getting their back line before they can do a lot of poke damage with the Pharah.
Yeah, they're very much struggling right now. I agree completely.
But carries and gauges have been pretty good. It just needs to be it's just that when she engages, the supports are. And Ana keeps landing.
Shatter.
Yeah. Oh, and a nice Deadeye by Evolve. So they win this fight. If they can clean up the last stragglers, which I think they. And yes, the final kill on the monkey.
Consolidating onto the point.
Yep.
Very good. Alright, let's see if we can hold it here.
They have a pretty even ult advantage, but pretty even ults. The yellow team has the support ult advantage, so I'll see how that plays out in this next fight. And the Tracer again poking in that back line. That's got to be really frustrating.
Oh,
but Evolve takes off.
Tracer and Lucio down.
Nice. So, and then the Diva's close to getting demeched, but that's a nano boost onto the monkey, and McCree finishes off too. So they're despite having the disadvantage at the beginning, they're turning this around.
Unfortunately, no kills with the self-destruct there.
Yeah. Ana's hitting some pretty good nades on. There we go. And they still have time for one more fight, which is good. They can have a barrage, and they can probably maybe a support or 2 with that. Or a tank if they want to focus down the tanks after they dive in. The swap onto the Lucio is interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be it for them, I believe.
Yeah. Although Oblivivit's getting the last kill on the diva, or on the baby diva, is a pretty good way to go.
Ryan trying to stall, but just can't quite manage it.
Yep. And so they're on to stall picks now. Tracer on the point with the Lucio, while the tanks are trying to poke at the front of the opposite team's tank line.
Oh.
And they managed to take out the Ana, but I don't know if that'll be enough for them. It's probably likely just cleanup at this point. Although manages to get the diva with that shatter. I hate it sometimes when you just go around that corner and Reinhardt's already shattered and you have no idea it's coming for you.
Right.
So what did you think about the difference between the Winston and Rein? Which one did you prefer on that one? Like,
I think really the Rein could have worked if they hadn't had that McCree like constantly getting the very important picks.
Yeah, definitely. I see.
Because they were at a disadvantage pretty much almost the entire round. Like they only took it once because of that McCree constantly like hitting them with the Peacekeeper.
So this is interesting. The Paladins move on to a full brawl comp while their opponents have swapped onto a complete dive comp, which is pretty much the opposite of what happened last time. But Clarity goes down early.
Yeah.
Not sure where that happened, but those supports for the Paladins are down. Although, and there go the tanks. Although TNT manages to take off the win.
Oh, that was a very nice blow by the Doomfist. Reaper's down. Tracer, honestly, should probably get out of there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Interesting, because they have full dive, but they have the McCree sticking with the Ana, which is kind of a deterrent for TNT on the Tracer. But the rest of their team can just go full in.
I noticed that the yellow team now has a Wrecking Ball, which is always very exciting to watch for me because my brother is a Wrecking Ball main, and he has been since he started playing Overwatch.
That's sweet.
And Wrecking Ball, if you let him run loose, can very much do quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, but there was a nice pick-off by Evolve at the beginning. It was traded for support, but we'll see where this fight continues to go, as the Paladins have both DPS ults and are approaching their shatter. Ooh, but McCree again making trouble. The Nano Fisted, the Nano Doomfist is also a hard thing to deal with.
Ooh, Reaper went for the pick on the Doomfist, but couldn't quite get it.
Yeah, it was really close, and it looks like we have a little bit of a lag issue, but that'll be sorted out. Okay, so yellow team has 4 ults built up, and I'll be interested to see how they use their DPS ult. Doomfist usually for escaping, and somehow Oblivivitz gets picked off in the middle of the team. I'm not sure what happened there.
No, I couldn't quite see what was happening.
Oh, and there goes down the supports. So this is a lost fight for them. They have time for one more fight if they have somebody touch. So that's probably gonna have to be TNT, and he can like, oh no, he gets picked off there trying to get to it.
Zarya trying to brawl in, but can't
it was really
quite manage
close
at that time. Yeah.
Ah, the old timers. There we go. That's the team. Okay, so I think they had some really good ideas. Like the brawl comp on that point is usually really good, especially when you take top left, or and then brawl it out. But with the dive mobility, they were just able to get out of the way, and the Doomfist.
The brawl. I believe you're absolutely correct. The brawl. I'm sorry. The dive could move around what the brawl was wanting to do and just dominate the angles instead of coming to them and coming into their wheelhouse.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be interested to see how they make adaptations to that comp. Maybe make, like, if the Doomfist was in their back line, having like a McCree to stick with it like the old timers did. Because I thought that was a pretty smart idea when you had your Ana and McCree stay back while the rest of your team goes in. And now we have King's Row. This is one of my personal favorite maps, as it is for many people. But what do you think is going to happen on this map?
Now, what I like about King's Row is that there are so many little spots you can pop into and peek out of and come around from somewhere where that's not necessarily an expected angle. Like your Reaper can come in, it has an opportunity to come in. Your Widowmaker obviously can take a prime spot and snipe from there. So I think, especially if you're playing on attack, you can have a very exciting game on King's Row. Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm especially a fan of just the unique pocket strats you can see sometimes. Like some people like to run a Hans instead, which is pretty interesting. I think though that we're gonna see another either Rein Diva from the Paladins, and I'm not sure if they're on attack right now. But it looks
I'm not personally familiar with the Paladins. I haven't seen them play before, so I don't know what personalities, what hero preferences are at play here. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens.
So I definitely think they're going to stick with that. Reinhardt carries she's a very good Reinhardt main. She can play the monkey and the ball as well as the Orisa, but like in there she has that Rein as well. So it's a preference I definitely know. And I'm interested to see how the Reaper McCree is gonna work, especially because they have that Sombra on the other team. And the Doomfist, because if the Sombra manages to get a hack on that McCree, it'll be really hard for him to do anything. Especially with the Doomfist coming in. Although I like the swap to Moira from Mercy that Clarity's gone. She's decided to have more more self-sustain with the Moira. And yeah, I guess we'll see how this one goes. So, out of the gates, tanks are still the same, but we see Valve again taking that flank.
Reaper, yeah, Reaper didn't stand much of a chance after Sombra gets the hack off.
Yeah, it's really hard when you're taking that long risky flank. If it had worked out, it would have been really good.
Reinhardt's down. Ooh. Yellow team cleaning house.
Yes, right now they are. But it looks like, I'm not sure if they'll go in for another contest. They might have time to get there, but they might just choose to hold at the choke. It looks like they're gonna choose to hold at the choke.
Yeah, they're gonna cede the point and try to take them in the streets area. Or maybe not.
Oh, no, they're going in. And that's a big move. But Carry goes down.
Trying to force them off the point.
Try and force them off the point, buy a little more time. Now it's just McCree and the Moira though, and they look to be stuck. Yep.
Coalescence almost up.
Yep. The other team has the clear ult advantage though, with Doomfist ult and their Rein Shatter. Carry has to be a little bit careful.
Wow, the other team is being very, very aggressive, pushing them almost back to their spawn.
Yeah, but Clarity manages to get that kill onto their Reinhardt, so they can push in quite easily from here. They have the advantage. And Carrie has her Shatter as well, so that's a free Shatter. And there it is.
Shatter, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, and a nice hack out of the Deadeye.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I thought, that
I don't see Sombras going for the hack cancel on ultimates very often, but yeah, it can absolutely be a killer play.
Yeah. Although it was a good little bit of a stall to the point B, they're gonna have time for another contest for sure.
Now, another thing I especially like about this map, because I sometimes when I'm feeling saucy, I can play Reaper. You know, if I don't want to play tank, I play Reaper. There are lots of little spots like the gantries and the walkways that you can jump up onto with the teleport and get that very nice Death Blossom.
Yeah, it was a nice EMP shatter though that came out from the old timers. Made it really hard for their abilities to come out, but they managed to stabilize a little bit. Although they have the old timers have the Doomfist still, so.
It looked like he was going to try to go for the Death Blossom, but he died before he could get it off, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Although the Coalescence comes out from both teams now. Clarity trying to stabilize Paladins in their spawn, but the offensive Coalescence does a little bit more. Just because they have that pushing power. Although Evolve manages to do neck, so they may have overextended a little bit. If they can get the stop here, it'd be really good for them. So they use beat, and it looks like they're gonna clean up this fight pretty well.
There we go.
Yeah, so the Paladins have a really good spot to hold from corners here. And
if McCree gets off a cheeky Deadeye from the flank, that would be a very good delaying tactic.
Yeah, that's true. The only, or even if Carrie manages to get off a shatter here, pairing up those two ultimates is usually pretty good. Oh, and there's the Rhine tank. Rhine absolutely taken down by the Paladins. Although it's a little even, I think it's a pretty equal advantage right at this, but with Emma taking out that Sombra. Actually, oh, okay, so the old timers are investing trance in this, and Paladins are going to use their Coalescence to try and stabilize, but they've cut off the Rhine, and let's see if they can kill him. Oh, what about gets taken out? Looks like they're just gonna try and die on point here.
Enemy Rhine gets the shatter off.
Yeah.
Followed up by the self-destruct.
Is gonna, clean up the rest of them and the supports. So they have time for one more fight if they can regroup, but the old timers have EMP, which will make it a really difficult fight for them.
It looks like Ryan is waiting to get off a char. Oh, there goes the EMP.
Oh, and Carrie manages to charge across and get that Moira, so they're down some heals, so it looks good for the Paladins.
Very nice Death Blossom.
Yeah, it looked really good, so they managed to hold that fight again. Point A and point B went pretty fast, but the Paladins are really holding on point C here.
Now that Reinhardt was smart and denied the ult charge by suiciding.
Yeah, exactly. Although I'm interested to see the Zen instead of the Lucio, or just in compositions, looking at the compositions. It looks like it's really good for forcing out pressure onto Carrie's main tank. And especially the Reaper. I've noticed the Discord a lot on the Reaper. Both lines were really close to shatter as well.
I see they switched from Diva to Zarya for this last push.
Pretty good idea. Oh, and out comes the trance. And a nice bomb from Oblivion. She's done pretty well with those bombs all day.
Nice pick on the enemy Doomfist.
Yeah, TNT taking care of that Doomfist really well. And nice counter charge from Carrie. Although, I don't think that shatter hit anyone.
Yeah, it was difficult to see, but I don't believe anybody got stunned.
Yeah. It looks like the Paladins are trying to stabilize, but it's going to be a little bit difficult. Although they managed to touch, and Carrie takes out the Doomfist with Lucio's help.
That was very nice. denying the heal on the McCree.
Yeah, and TNT manages to take out that McCree too. He's been giving them a lot.
Trying to go for the aggressive Death Blossom, but it didn't quite work.
Yeah. It was a nice try from Oblivibits to matrix that, but there was too much damage with the Zarya. Can't shield that beam. Looks like they're on stall picks for now. And it should be a simple thing for the old timers to just clean up this fight. Yeah, but they held that for a really long time. They only have 7 seconds, and they started that point with about 4 minutes. So I'm interested to see what they'll do on attack, because they're if they continue with the Rein Diva, I think that's a good option. But you could always swap that to a Zarya, especially when you're attacking, for that extra damage potential. How did you feel about the Reaper?
No, I think the Reaper, well, obviously he might have been a little more conservative with the Death Blossom instead of trying to like brawl right in close. Because what I like to do when I'm on Reaper, I'll like often teleport behind them before going for the Death Blossom, just so they have a little less chance of like seeing it coming and anticipating that.
Definitely. I think it's an interesting thing to look at, because they were all straightforward ultimate uses, but not necessarily bad. I am intrigued to see the Sigma Rein on the old timer side. That's not usually a comp.
Going double barrier again. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Usually you'd say that paired with like an Orisa or something though. So I'm intrigued to see what it'll do. And they have a Widow Ashe, so they're playing double sniper with that. McCree's gonna have a bit of a tough time.
Very interesting comp today.
Yep. Paladins are pushing forward pretty aggressively. And Oblivibits is trying to take that high ground away from the Ashe, but it's too much for her alone.
Yeah, I believe by going double sniper and double barrier, they've allowed their ground to be ceded too easily to the Reinhardt, to the Reaper, to the Diva, that are characters that want to get close in and take that space.
I think the only difficult is going to be with the approach, although that's an early coalescence, but somehow Oblivibits gets taken out. I'm not sure where that was. But they come up with 2 picks, and they have the spawn advantage. But Dom kind of popping off there, and he uses his ultimate there to finish up the fight and make time for the spawns to return. So that's a pretty good use out of that, I'd say. And they have Bob, so I'd be curious to see if they're going to use that to split. Or oh, an early pickoff on the Moira. It's a pretty good. It looks like a good fight for them.
Getting the pick on Ana, trading for the Ana.
Yeah, but Evolve manages to clean up the rest of the tank line, and the tanks take care of the snipers, so that's going to be a capped first point A for them.
Alright, now let's see how this proceeds into the streaks area. Diva getting up into Sigma's face.
Yeah. They swapped their Widowmaker for a McCree on the old timer side, so it's going to be more of a McCree duel for them, although they still have the extra front-loaded damage from that Reaper rather than the Ashe.
Oh, very nice Death Blossom, but it was denied.
Yeah. Save their McCree saved that flashbang for the ulting Reaper. Manages to take out Evolve. So they're close to, the old timers have both of their tank ults, pretty much. So I think that's a pretty good advantage. I don't know if Aircat saves beat for the Sigma ult or for the Shatter. I think it depends which comes out first, honestly.
Bob coming out.
Oh, yep. Okay, so it's used for the Shatter, and Paladins are still up to full strength. And they're trying to stabilize, but Carrie gets caught in the Sigma ult. Although, Paige... Oh no, it's just taken down. But it's an even trade, because both Reinhardts are taken out. And Emma's going insane on that Lucio in their backline, taking out three that fight. An excellent play from her. She's a pretty aggressive Lucio player, and manages to get a lot of kills on that Lucio while providing support.
Ash trying to stall a little bit, but can't quite manage it.
Yep. Just
I see that the Paladins are they're definitely trying to take that space before the old timers can try to set up their barriers again. Very wise choice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Sigma's shield's already almost down, as well as his ability usage pretty much gone. Although he gets nano, and the Coalescence comes out in response. Actually, Old Timer's using both of their support ults. And the Paladins back up a bit. Just try to kite away from it. Oh, and
Sigma getting very close and dangerously close too.
yeah, and the Paladins are reinforcing with the beat, and they take out the Sigma, so it looks good for them right now. Although there's a Doomfist in the back, again, so that's a problem.
Once again, the Death Blossom denied. Like I've already said, you've got to be more careful with the Death Blossom because of how vulnerable it leaves you. Like, get up on a gantry, come up from an unexpected angle. People are going to anticipate a Death Blossom if they see a Reaper trying to get into the middle of a brawl.
Yeah, a little bit. About even in the support ultimates department, although Aspect switch onto a Ana, and I wonder if that's for the heal deny for carry. Yeah, manages to land a
ult coming out.
Oh, and
2 picks from the ultimate.
Yeah, and look at that Ana kill feed, Ana on the kill feed. Anti lands, and sports from the Paladins can't heal them up when they're antied, so. They back out and they're gonna regroup. Now they have the ultimate advantage, but they can see it'll be hard for them to use it with double shields, I think. Although Carrie getting really low.
30 seconds for them to try to push on to the second checkpoint.
Oh, and stuns out of the Deadeye.
Now,
Sorry.
Unfortunately, the Diva self-destruct goes into the little station area, does not do very much.
Yeah.
But we are getting picks. I think they're about to make it onto the second checkpoint with 5 seconds to go.
I mean, yeah, they're pushing forward. Carrie's pushing forward with
very nice.
Emma. Although Carrie's getting a little low, might have pushed a little bit too far, especially with the Doomfist being able to come in. Oh, but a quick beat from Emma.
Devastating ult combo. Takes out the Rhine. Sigma going for that flank, yeah.
TNT almost gets taken out there, but manages to roll away back into spawn. Oh, and Carrie manages to pin the Sigma into the team, so they might get a kill here. And they do. That leaves them with a good way to push them off. Although, a nice sleep from
The 3 on the gantry.
The Old Timers DPS are doing a pretty good job of flanking around and making it difficult for the Paladin support line. Well, they only take out Clarity from that, so they still have the chance. Oh, nice rocks stun, but Evolve manages to take out the opposing. But that's again traded back.
Alright, let's see what they can do with 10 seconds on the clock.
Probably just gonna have to stall out and touch at this point. And Carrie's trying to make it back, but I don't think she's gonna make it. Nope. Another close map though. They did really well holding on point C, I think. But the Old Timers defense just a little bit too tough for them to get through that. I'm interested to see this. Oh, the Zenyatta play for the cleanup. Yep. So I think I'd be curious to see a little bit more of the Eva peeling for the supports a little more. Because the advantage with D.Va is she can be everywhere now with her 3-second boosters.
Yeah, they with the changes to her boosters, she's become an extremely mobile tank.
Or even just saying like, we can go full in and maybe changing up to a Zarya and just pushing through the enemy front lines. I'd be interested. Like, I think the Paladins are doing a pretty good job, but I'd like to see a little bit more adaptation during mid-game. Another thing is the supports on the other side, the Old Timers side, are doing a pretty good job of keeping up their Reinhardt as well. Like the Reinhardt dropped very low a few times, but managed to be kept alive. It's pretty good to see.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed about the Old Timers play is that they are doing a very good job of denying the big Paladin ults like the Death Blossom, like the Shatter, and when those go off, there's an almost instant reaction saying, okay, we need to get out of the way of the Shatter, we need to, block the McCree or kill the McCree. Very, very nice reaction time on there. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of support players, Aircat she's doing an amazing job of like playing aggressive on that Lucio with Carry in tandem, so it makes it pretty good for them both because they managed to get a lot of kills that maybe wouldn't have been possible if Aircat was in the back line. So I like to see that aggression from her. So the next map, I believe, is going to be Volskaya, and that's a pretty interesting map because there's a lot of different strategies. Although point A is pretty easy to get taken, so a lot of the strongholds end up being point B.
Yeah, I've seen what I've seen often be the case on Volskaya is that it can be hard to brute force your way through that initial choke, but there are so many characters now that have the flanking opportunity, like Symmetra with the teleporter pad or Wrecking Ball going around the side. If you get flanked, it suddenly goes from impregnable to a very, very difficult situation to react to and adjust quickly enough to keep point A from being taken.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious to see. You can see a lot of Orisa on this map, and I think there will be a sub Lonely Voxel in for the Paladins, and I know that she plays a pretty good Orisa as well, and as well as that does a lot of dive with Mom. So I'd be curious to see if she comes in, the Paladins switch to a more dive-focused offense. And I'm not sure about the Old Timers, but it seems to be that they're pretty stuck on that run. I think they've only played the Monkey on one point, so I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing a Reinhardt from them.
Now, if they do switch to the dive, I believe that could be to their advantage. Like once again, using the mobility to control the angles and stay out of especially the Reinhardt's wheelhouse and all the support they're dumping into him. And
Yeah.
if Reinhardt can't get in there to brawl and be where he needs to be, he's impotent.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see again. They're probably gonna run that pharmacy with it, and I think a poke comp would be pretty good against the Moira Zen. There's not a lot of that the old timers seem to be playing, so that would be, I think, a good choice for them as well. Just because they'd be able to out poke until getting up. And I think they are playing with the hero band, so I think that's why we haven't seen any Mei today. So maybe there won't be an. I just remembered that.
In the experimental change laws, I've seen that they're removing they might be removing the damage fall off for Mei's secondary fire, which obviously massively increases her long range damage potential.
Yeah.
And it remains to be seen whether that actually makes it into the main game. It might not, but if it does, you suddenly have an all-range stall powerhouse.
That's so terrifying. I'm not sure how I feel about that, especially as a tank. I'm just gonna get picked off across the map from a Mei. Don't know how I feel about that, but maybe that's just tied up in experimental. Although
hopefully it will be, because I myself do not agree that a stall kind of, a DPS that's kind of a side tank should not necessarily be able to control space out to that range.
Yeah, she's more of a short range DPS, except for the people who can snipe with her. That's really fun. That's fun to watch.
It is. I completely agree.
I know. I just say that because I know both of the Paladins DPS that are in right now, both TNT and Evolve, play pretty good Mei as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm pretty sure that one of the DPS on the old timers does as well. So I was a little confused, and then I remembered that there were hero bans likely in effect. I'd be interested to see why there's a bit of a long pause. I wonder if there was just a little bit of problems getting someone into the game.
Now, who did you say was likely to be subbed in?
I think their tag is Lonely Voxel to go by Roxy, and she's another main tank for the Paladins. So, like, I think she brings a little bit of a different style of play than Carrie does. Both are pretty good. It's just a little less aggressive, I think. Just from watching the play, I think that's what it is. I'd be interested to see if that keeps gives the supports more space and the DPS more space. Although Carrie was doing a pretty good job of providing space, it's just that the other DPS, the DPS on the other side were dive characters, so they could get in before the space was made. And then after this we have Junkertown, which I'm also excited to see, because that's always been a map where you can kind of get some weird compositions, and it looks like
Junkertown is a very I want to say unique. Unique is
Yeah.
probably the appropriate word for Junkertown, where the defenders are often actually on the back foot, especially in the streets in the middle. And because the attackers can come from so many different angles, they can come from the top, they can come from the tunnel.
Yeah.
I've often seen the streets in Junkertown just outright ceded to the attackers rather than attempt to delay, just so they can set up on the final tunnel segment before the throne room.
Yeah, it's a very interesting map, and it looks like it looks like Roxy's getting into game, and that'll mean the game is going to be shortly underway. And again, we're going to Volskaya, so I think the Paladins will be on defense first, if I'm right. Oh, maybe a little internet problem. Oh, they're now the old timers are the boomers. So just a tidbit for you there. The other thing I like about Junkertown is just that you can see a lot of double sniper, which is pretty fun because we got to see a lot of looks from both teams today with brawl comps and dive comps. We've only been missing double sniper.
They did go double sniper on first point at King's Row, but it did not work out very well for them necessarily because of how much ground was ceded early on. That allowed them to the Paladins to consolidate their position onto the point and pretty much just take it outright.
Yeah, definitely. I did like to see the Ashe play though, just because it's always fun seeing her play, and you don't get hit a ton. The other sniper's a bit more popular, been on the game longer. But... So it looks like everybody's getting set up, and we're heading into game. On the defense, there's a couple places. Everybody usually sets up on the first choke, but I'd be interested to see if either of the teams ends up running a bit of a bunker comp, which is also semi-popular on this map. Because I know you can do that sim teleport strat across the high grounds. Makes it really hard for divers to get onto the point.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, a bit of a look. And there's the pause. So it shouldn't be too long. But I'd be curious to see what happened. Speaking of Symmetra comp. Yes, so I think they are on defense right now. But I'm interested in the Brigida Mercy comp for the supports. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think they've actually switched to Lucio just to get set up on point and have the Lucio's mobility in the first choke where he can try work the angles a little bit.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, they swapped it again. Debated. So the Ana Mercy instead, and that's going to be countered by the Ana.
Now, I'm interested to see if the Paladin sim goes for a teleport strat, because those can be devastating.
Yeah, it looks like they are.
There we go. Let's see what happens. This is going to be very exciting.
I think so as well. Although they are playing a dive comp.
The defenders reacting to the teleport strat.
Nice heals coming in from Emma on that.
Let's see if their
side.
Bastion can get set up and get some picks here.
Oh, yep. Evolve on the Bastion, taking care of that Evo mech after they got rid of the monkey. Although TNT somehow gets hacked in the middle of the team. Not sure how that happened, but... So the Ryan's taken low ground. And Clarity manages to take out the
already on the point, which shows you the sheer potency of the Symmetra teleport strat on this map if the defenders cannot react appropriately quickly enough.
Yeah. They only have to take care of that D.Va, and they look like they can stagger her out a little bit. But
And that's the first point decisively taken.
And the old timers are still on the dive comp. It looks like they want to get onto that try and take the Bastion out before it can get set up. But Roxy is doing a decent job of making space, but it went a little bit far on that push in particular.
Bastion does have tank, so if they want to dump resources into that play, they could get a few valuable picks before moving in.
However, old-timers have the Nano Blade, and Paladins don't have a defensive ult, so I don't know if they wait a push and try and force out that Nano Blade first and then use their ultimates. But
there goes the Dragon Blade.
Yeah.
Quickly taking out the Bastion and Reinhardt and Anna.
So yeah, it looks like they took care, but the Paladins only popped Valk, and a bit of a revenge kill for Aircat there on Aspect. So they did only swap, they did only use the Mercy ult, but they swapped from the Bastion. Which I think is a bit of a good idea considering the defender's advantage.
Yeah, the Winston and the D.Va are going to have to be more cautious diving into a composition that includes the Reaper.
Yeah. That especially as Roxy has that shatter, so they have to be a little bit careful diving in with that as well. Oh, and
Reaper going for a cheeky capture.
A good peel from the D.Va there. Although, yep, gets taken out. But a good bomb coming in from Oblivion. No shielding available, so they managed to get a couple picks off of that. And TNT is charged up on the point. He's kind of melting with that Symmetra right now.
Another Dragon Blade, followed by the EMP.
Yeah, it looks like the old-timers are turning this around with that clutch EMP there by Blood Cloud. I like that little Symmetra swap just to get everybody quicker for the
Never stop fighting
stall,
for
but
what you believe in.
if they had had a couple more on point, that would have been a really good little time saver.
Now they do only have one tick left with 2 minutes and a half to go, so let's see if they can take it. Nano on the monkey.
Yeah. Oh, he's gotten on those supports.
Nano goes down from the fire strike.
Paladin's pushing forwards though, while Oblivion takes peels for that on us, so they're still at an advantage here. And a nice headshot onto that Moira is helping them clean up for sure. Although again, that D.Va in the back line, tanked managing to get onto Clarity on that Ana.
A third Dragon Blade in very rapid succession. And that cleans up that brawl.
Yeah, Villager's doing pretty good on that Genji. Although now they had to use quite a bit. Paladins back that fight, so the ult advantage goes towards them again. And I think if they use their tank ultimates, maybe set up a bomb shatter, I think Paladins have a really good chance of getting this last tick.
Get back in the fight.
Well, that's a nice anti onto the Ana, but luckily it takes out the monkey before that can be done.
Unfortunately, the Deadeye was denied, which would have helped a lot if it had managed to go off. But they do take the point.
Yep. D.Va a little bit too distracted by Leona to continue stalling it out, but that's alright because it was, they managed to stall for very long. They managed to keep them back for a long time. Although they do finish with over a minute, so if they can, if the old timers get to the second point and cap it under 0 seconds, then they can only draw the map at worst. So they played that Bastion strat on the offense. What do you think about that?
I thought that was a very bold decision that ended up playing out very well for them. Because by the time they had adjusted their position to try to repel the teleport strategy, they were in too much disarray to mount a proper defense, and the first point was taken very decisively. And I believe the rapid speed at which the point was taken threw them a little bit off balance.
Oh. Some little tricks by Aircat there. I honestly didn't know that you could go that far down the wall without falling off.
I'd be interested to see what strategy they intend to use to try to cap this first point, because as I've said previously, it can be a big struggle to try to brute force your way through this choke.
Yeah, it looks like they might be playing for Nanoblade again, which worked the first time, but that's a quick pick off onto TNT. Although, do they manage to get the D.Va net? I'd be curious to see, because now they do have that defensive ult, so I'd be curious to see how effective those Nanoblades are now. But Evolve picking off 2 manages to stymie the attack. Going very deep though. And somehow Villager managed to get Clarity there at the end. So it looks like Emma's going to try it.
Going back to assist his teammates to get to the point. Which I honestly wish more Lucios would be considerate enough to do.
Yeah, that's fair. The only problem I have with it there is that they have the dive tanks, so it's pretty easy for them to quickly get on. But it looks like it's working out for them, managing to take out 3. But the Tracer managing to get that Mega makes it really tricky for Reaper to get the kill there. But Evolve makes do and manages to take out the monkey as well. And the stagger onto the baby D.Va. Not the worst one, but it's always annoying to be the D.Va staggered.
Time to raise my APM.
I have to say, I'm not sure about the Genji Tracer into the McCree Reaper, because they...
Yeah, you're definitely playing into a situation where the latter is going to have the advantage. You're coming into their wheelhouse.
Yeah. And a nice beat to cancel out the rest of the blade. So it only gets 1, while Evolve was in the back line taking care of the supports. Well, Blizzard being a bit aggressive there. Gonna lose mech, I think. Yeah. Nice pin. I like how they're using the natural cover.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good,
Yeah.
and they managed to hold him off again.
Point one has a lot of very good cover from a frontal assault.
Mm-hmm. And they swapped off the dive tanks, and now they're going to a full brawl camp, a full brawl comp as well. Although they still have that Genji, it looks like they're still gonna play for that final nano. And Roxy goes down a little bit early. Although managing to keep
Coming
up.
down in 20 seconds. Let's see if they can take it.
He's doing Clarity doing a pretty good job of keeping up Oblivion there. And the Nano McCree. Oh, good protection from that Zarya on here. And there goes the Nano Blade. Yeah, I think that might win them the point.
Got the barrier a little bit too late, about half a second too late to help.
Yeah. Although that grab was a little bit questionable use. Only the Reaper on point and he just faded out of it, so I would have preferred to see that saved for a second point to see if you could snowball that fight. And they swap onto the Doomfist to complete the Brawl comp, and I like that swap because Paladins have been struggling a little bit with the Doomfist. Although the DPS team up to take him out, so if they can keep doing that, it will not be a problem. Ooh, a nice stun. But a good beat in return to cancel out the effects of that Earth Shatter.
Once again, a very aggressive, very risky Death Blossom that ultimately pays off this time.
Yeah.
Attempt to deny the ult charge, but couldn't manage it.
Yep. The old timers used a fair bit of ult there, ultimately getting them nothing, though. And they only have a minute and a half by the next fight, really.
Yeah, I think they might be a little unraveled from taking so long to take the first point, almost to the point of overtime, so they're pushing too hard when it would have been more beneficial to them to try to space out their ultimates a bit more.
Yeah, I am Nana Ryan to push them off a bit, and oh, TNT manages to get that Deadeye kill onto the Ana. I'm not sure how that happened. That was a huge point. The Paladins are gonna pull back a bit. I think that's a smart move for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you absolutely do not want to brawl into the middle of a Reinhardt and a Zarya.
Yeah, although Oblivion loses mech, and that's a nice counter shatter for the grab.
Followed by the Deadeye.
Oh, and Evolve gets taken out in the back line, but it was a good try to and take the supports out while the front line was so pushed forwards. You know, going on stall picks, trying to get as much time taken out as but ultimately the old timers will complete the map. And they have a minute to try and get as much as they can on first point. I think if the Paladins have a good defense like they did last round, then it's totally reasonable for them to take this map. Because they nearly full held them at that point.
Mm-hmm. I think the switch to the dive heroes for the offense was a very good play because the opposing heroes did not have the mobility to play around the dive.
Yeah. Although they are gonna start, it looks like they are gonna start out on the Brawl comp at first. Again. I really do like the Sombra Doofus, the McCree Doomfist. I think it's a good look for the old timer. Although TNT and Evolve have been managing to sometimes get that Doomfist and take care of him, which is good by them.
Now, with the Lucio and the Doomfist, I'd be interested if they try to do a rush down to try to take the point quickly.
Yeah.
Here they come.
It looks like they're just gonna approach from right side of point, and the Paladins are gonna back off, try and go around that way.
Doomfist diving into the back line.
Bubble immediately cancels out the anti from Clarity. Manages to take out the Doomfist, but not before it takes out TNT. There's just the supports for the Paladins, trying to stall for as long as they can. Old timers already have the Coalescence. That's such a good thing about that ultimate, is it just charges up so quickly. Although Clarity almost has the Nano Boost as well, which will definitely give Voxel the advantage in the Rhine 1v1. I'm interested to see how they will use the Shatter to get the advantage. Oh, a huge!
Very nice shatter from the side, followed up by the pin.
Somehow losing 2 though, but they're trading out pretty evenly, so that's an advantage. Diva Bomb gets nothing, but it forces out some cooldowns. Yeah, it looks like the Paladins just have to get that. Get the tanks off.
I don't think anyone was stunned by that shatter. It was a bit of a difficult.
Yeah, it's a difficult position to get for the attacking line, I think. But they managed to stave them off, so if they can tick on point 2, they just win that map. Which again, I think they took point A very quickly, so I think if they...
that rush down with the Lucio, Doomfist, Zarya, Reinhardt was very beneficial to them.
Yeah. I wonder if the Paladins use the Bastion strat again. We'll get a nice view of Volskaya.
They might not have time to effectively set up with the Bastion.
Yeah.
If they do decide to go that way, which it looks like they're not.
Yeah. I think that's a smart move from them. Because I think you need to get as many ults as you can on first point to try and get that second point quickly. Especially with the limited time bank.
Let's shoot for a new high score.
Still have that difference in supports though. Clarity still on that Ana versus the Moira.
Very nice denial of the orb by the Diva.
Yeah. We kept going low there, but
going over to the left side.
Somehow though, Clarity falling to the orb. I'm not sure how that one happened. That's why it's just so important to always eat as many of them as you can. So that's our first push taken out. They're gonna swap over to a Tracer. They're
Sorry, getting very aggressive.
Unfortunately, they can't capitalize. Oh, sorry. Oh, that Junkrat managing the Lucio is pretty huge for them, especially in this last fight.
Ryan's very low.
I don't think they can get him here though. Nah, he's gonna be healed up in time. It looks like TNT is trying to go to get a touch on the point, but I think the Moira knows he's there. Yeah, and the tanks are both on point. Although Evolve manages to take out McCree on the other side. So that's a good start for the Paladins. But that's a huge shatter.
Out comes the Riptire. Riptire takes out the Reaper.
Yeah. Really good fast building ultimate on the defense, so I think that's what gave them the edge there, honestly. Although a good match.
Very well fought. Very well fought for both sides, I will say.
Yeah, I liked the adaptations that the Paladins started making when it came to that Doomfist, like both DPS going to counter him. Although that Deadeye was really pretty huge, and using it in tandem with the Shatter, it's a really, I think, underutilized combo. Alright, Junkertown. I'm excited. I really hope we do get to see some sniper play on at least first point. I think that'll be really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. The peak shots you can make with a Widowmaker or an Ashe can be very, very potent on a map with as much cover and as little cheeky little angles as Junkertown has, especially on the defense.
Yeah. So I think the Paladins are going to start on attack this time. Oh wait, maybe. I think my favorite point personally is point 2 on Junkertown, just because the high ground is so much fun.
Yeah, you can have quite a chaotic brawl on both levels on the second point.
Yeah. Although I love seeing Widows use that back funnel for for a Widowmaker, because it's just so hard for the opposing team to get somebody on there. There's such a far distance away.
Ooh, with 2 Widowmakers, we might be seeing some exciting counter sniper play, which I've been looking forward to. Seeing 2 snipers duel each other is always such an exciting prospect.
Yeah. I am interested to see the defense dives. I wonder... it looks like they're trying to make as much space as possible for their on the Paladin side to get that work done. And playing the Mercy Lucio again for a lot of mobility.
I see that they've decided to go Sigma Roadhog, which is could work out very well for them. I'm always glad to see someone wanting to go Roadhog.
Yeah. It's a nice anti onto Roxy though, and
very nice hook combo that takes out Monkey.
Yeah.
Mercy, ooh, very bold res that put her into Widow's line of sight, but it worked out.
I liked that they also have the support advantage just because Evolve managed to get that pick onto a nice headshot. And that Hog is going deep into their back line. Although the Ana managing to take out the Widowmaker this time, not something you see every day.
People underestimate the potency of Ana's main fire, and the damage it can do over time.
Yeah. Although Blood Cloud does a really good job of cleaning up right there. And it looks like the Paladins are gonna make a comp swap. But I'd be curious to see it. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we're once again going for the Rhine, yes.
Yeah. So I actually really like that swap into it. You can do a lot of denial of the Roadhog hooks with that Rhine shield. So I think that'll help.
And if the Roadhog is good enough, you can even be hooked out of Shatter, which is obviously has devastating consequences.
Yeah. I like the pick off. They get the pick off onto that Sombra who is in the back line. They can't keep up their supports, so they're gonna have to concede a lot of ground here.
Ash does have bombs, so I wonder how she plans to utilize that.
I think they are gonna hold up for a hold on third, honestly. Yeah, no time to go and set up for the last attempt. I'd be curious to see if they go forward. The doors are still open. Oh, and a nice bomb from Oblivibits, but hacked so it can't get back into mech.
Sombra getting off some very nice hacks.
Oh, you hate to see the double hack onto the Rhine. Just getting main tanked again.
Roadhog, very aggressive push, but he's pulling back.
Yeah. I want to see if Clarity can save the sleep for the Roadhog ult that's gonna come. Oh, but looks like Clarity was picked off a bit. Oh, the Roadhogs got 2 pickoffs.
Nano on the Roadhog.
A nice.
I'm surprised Ash's firebomb did not kill that Sombra.
I think they managed to E out just before the damage was too much. So that's really good mechanics by her. Although Roadhog's alone on the side, he might get caught out there. And the Sigma ult comes in and Roxy's anti, but a clutch beat saver. Unfortunately, with the Roadhog ult, it's too much for Reinhardt.
Anna trying to heal, but can't get through the sheer damage output of Roadhog and Sigma.
Oh, nice hack out of that charge, because that Sigma was going to get absolutely pinned, but...
Now that match right there showcases the power of Sigma and Roadhog, both tanks that trade off of their ability to do just massive amounts of damage.
Yeah, I think Villagers' hacks on the Sombra, though, really helped the old-timers push through, because there were a lot of times...
Those were very, very clutch hacks. With precise timing you don't often see in Sombra players. Very expertly done.
Yeah. I was happy to see the Rhine Diva, but I wonder if they'll... Yeah, it looks like they're gonna play the same comp on attack as the old-timers did, which is pretty interesting. I know Oblivibits plays a very good hog. I think that's one of her specialty heroes. And I'm happy to see Villagers sticking on that Sombra. I think it was really fun to watch.
Now, I'm interested to see how they plan to play out the Bastion here, because he's not going to have the consistent barrier protection of, say, an Orisa or a Reinhardt. Like,
yeah.
Sigma wants to be toggling that shield on and off tactically.
Yeah.
So we're going to see how it works out.
Yeah. Taking that Widow 1v1 as a Bastion, very bold. But getting pocketed by Clarity, so manages to stay up. And that's a nice sleep onto the Wrecking Ball, and yeah, there it gets the Wrecking Ball out of there. Although Oblivibits was antied, so that's a bit hard of a situation for her. But Clarity gets off the res, which is really well done.
Sigma just caught out by himself, can't survive the sustained damage of all the other characters.
Yeah. But we'll do the positioning that the Paladins have on the point. And that's a late pick onto the Roadhog as well. But a nice sleep. I'm actually a fan of having this Symmetra instead of another DPS because it makes a
Some were
lot.
trying to stall, but their positioning was just too good. Like, once Bastion consolidates onto the payload, it becomes very difficult to dislodge.
Yeah. I wonder if they swap off after getting through second point, because I know third point is hard without a lot of shields or a dive composition. But that's a nice pick off by Oblivibits onto the Sigma. Somehow that Roadhog's in the backline now. I'm not sure how they got there.
Very nice rock kill with the Sigma.
Yeah.
Coming up to the end of the street.
Although the Paladins have 5 ultimates, although Villager has that EMP, so they can cancel it out pretty easily. So hopefully Evolve doesn't use that wall before EMP comes. That would be a shame. EMP immediately taking that wall down. I'm really liking how TNT's playing these off angles with the Bastion. Like, not so much on because there's not the amount of shielding needed for him to be on point, but doing pretty good at taking angles. I think there's gonna be a stagger onto those Oblivibits, yeah. And they didn't even have to use EMP for that push, so that's...
Yeah, I'm excited to see how the coming Gravitic Flux is going to be used, because that could be very powerful all by itself, but it could also be comboed.
Yes. Oh, a hack coming in after Bastion uses ultimate, so manages to still use it, but somehow Evolve gets taken out in the resulting battle. I like how Voxel used that Sigma ult early because they knew that Aspect didn't have transient.
Pin onto the Bastion.
Yeah. Oh, and Evolve manages to get the pick off onto the Reinhardt.
Don't stop now.
That's interesting. I think the Sombra gets... Oh!
Oh, very nice Guardian Angel away from the danger right before she was about to get taken out.
Yeah. Clarity's had some really good survivable moments on Mercy, I think, the entire game. Alright, so they're trying to push... They've swapped to the Rhine.
Ooh, huge shatter.
Yeah, a very good shatter coming in from Dom. And they're playing the double shield again, which I'm curious to see how long the Paladins will stick on the Hog into the double shield, just because it's so hard to get hooks into double shield. Although I like the Symmetra's still in play because of the double shield. I think it's a very good. Oh yeah, I don't think Clarity gets out here. Yeah, so switch on to the Diva I think was a smart move, just because of that, the double shields being played. TNT somehow gets into the backline and takes out Aspect. And another chat.
Now onto the Reinhardt. And
How did that swing hit?
Unfortunately, Reaper just walked right into that hitbox.
Yeah, I guess his hitbox goes around. There, I didn't realize it was that long. Oh, Ryan going in deep though. I wonder if the Paladins can punish this. Doesn't look so, but they keep all of their players alive.
Now, let's see if the Reaper goes for another aggressive Death Blossom or plays a bit more conservatively with it.
So I think because it's TNT playing it instead, it'll be a little bit less aggressive, but I'm not sure if he'll go the flanking route either. Oh, nice EMP shatter coming out from the old
Oh, huge Deadeye. Very nicely played.
That was really good setup for the Deadeye. And there's just nothing you can do to defend against that. Everybody's shattered or hacked. Although that was 3 ultimates, so that's still pretty good for the Paladins, I think. And they managed the trance. Although, yes.
Zen tries to go for the kill, but gets too close into the McCree.
Yeah. Still alive back there, so I wonder if the Evolve just stays or tries to get out. I think the other team will know they're there. Yeah. The Paladins, oh yeah. If they had pushed in there, I think that would have been okay, but because of the time they had.
Very good ball.
Yeah, that was just good positioning.
To the finish.
I'm not sure how it caught out the Ryan though. Unless he was stunned. He did have pretty decent shield health. They're pushing up aggressively here. I think that's a good idea. They had the EMP. Just manages to take them out. And that's the final map. Honestly, I think both teams had some really good shining moments. Like, I think the Boomers were a little more consistent, but both teams really showcased some really fine individual skills.
I agree, like especially the Sombra plays were very, very nice. That really stood out to me on the Jumper Town.
Yeah, and then again on King's Row, I really think Aircat showed some really good aggression, and the DPS from both teams having really good pop-off moments.
Overall, I'd say the Boomers showed more consistency on all the maps. Like they did get blown out a few times, but their reaction times and ability to evolve over the course of the maps and adapt to the situation won them out overall.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the Paladins for the rest of the season though, because I think they showed some really good things today in this show match. So I think if they keep working, they'll have a really good season ahead of them. Anyways, that seems to be all for today. Thank you for doing the cast with me, Felicity.
No, absolutely no problem at all. Happy to do it.